Hey guys, welcome back. I'm ChronoXF, and this is gonna be a little bit different video. This is gonna be the first video of my movie reviews. So, the movie that we're gonna be reviewing today is Captain America: Civil War. Now, I know this is a little late, and I'm on a little bit late on watching it, but I just saw it a couple days ago, and it's not bad. It's not a bad movie. There's some plot holes and some things that don't quite make sense. But before we get into it, I'm just gonna say, if you haven't seen it yet, this review is gonna get a little spoilery, and if you don't want it spoiled, you probably should leave now. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, so if you're still here, you won't mind any spoilers. So, alright. So, the way the movie begins, it starts with the Avengers on a mission to save an African country from Crossbones. And they end up fighting him through the town as he tries to get to the CDC over there that houses a biohazard weapon or a disease. We're not sure what kind of disease it is. They never mention it. But suffice it to say, there's a fight, and you get to see a lot of the Avengers kick some butt. Captain America goes all crazy on them, and Falcon's got his new suit with Red Wing, who happens to not be a bird now. He's a robot drone, which he thinks is kind of like the old Red Wing, the actual Falcon. It's kind of funny when he tells Black Widow, "Come on, say it, just say thanks, say thanks." I'm not gonna say thanks. But suffice it to say, they catch up with Crossbones after he steals the disease, and he threatens to unleash it if they don't back off, and they eventually get it away from him, but he distracts Captain America enough to set off a suicide bomb, and to save the town center that they're in, Scarlet Witch ends up containing the blast in a psychic orb, and she throws it up in the air, but she can't control it, so it hits a building, which explodes that building, killing lots of people. Lots of Wakandan people. And this event is what tips the scales for Tony Stark to start considering, maybe we should probably have somebody above us that controls what we do, instead of us as heroes deciding where we go, what we do, and what lives get saved and what not. And this is what starts the Civil War, basically. So 117 countries come together and create this accord that states that the Avengers should be controlled underneath the US government, and the US government will decide what missions are viable and which are not. And Captain America can't agree with this, because he thinks that if he sees something that goes wrong, he should be the one to fix it. And he wants to decide which ones, which ones to attempt. Now, Tony Stark, on the other hand, doesn't believe in that, because he's still got his Ultron complex going on, where he's afraid of everything, and he's afraid that whatever he creates is going to create something even more dangerous, which technically is kind of what happens anyway, but still, he's on the side. He gets half of the Avengers to sign the Accords, and the other half are on the fence, except for Captain America, which you know he's not going to sign. So they go to a conference for the signing of the accords, and guess what happens? A bomb explodes at the conference, which ends up killing the King of Wakanda, who was the main advisor or for these accords, and he ends up dying. His son takes over as King of Wakanda, and evidence comes in that the person who set the bomb off was Bucky, or the Winter Soldier. As the story moves on, right, this is where it gets a little convoluted, because the whole world believes Bucky did it, but they never investigate the whole fact that was it really the Winter Soldier that actually, killed this, set this bomb off. And you as the viewer come to believe that, it wasn't him because he was never there. But the US government, for some reason, just decided to throw that out the window and just try to arrest Bucky without any, due process. Which is really funny, because this whole movie was about laws and they didn't follow any of their laws, which is weird. So things happen, Captain America tries to save Bucky, and eventually he gets captured. Then as Bucky is imprisoned, he meets up with this psychologist who is not actually a psychologist. He's actually the bad guy in the movie, which is, it's not really the bad guy, he's just kind of more like a tool. As an antagonist, he sets off the fight between Captain America and Iron Man, which is he's not really the villain. I wouldn't really say he's a villain, but yeah, he's just a story trope that I guess they use to antagonize the battle between Captain America and Iron Man. He ends up using the secret code for the Winter Soldier on Bucky, which causes Bucky to go berserk and try to kill a bunch of people, which doesn't help his cause in the least. But he comes to his senses, and then there's a big battle in the airport, and this is where we get introduced to the new Spider-Man. And the one thing that I don't really like about this movie is the new Spider-Man. I don't know, it's just, I can't take it seriously when they try to decide to use the Ultimate Spider-Man version instead of the Amazing Spider-Man version. So Peter Parker's still in high school, and he's just got his powers. They haven't explained it yet, how he got his powers, or why he's still in high school. But that's supposed to come in the next movie, which is the Spider-Man standalone movie in 2017. So all that's gonna get explained. Aunt May's not an old lady. She's actually pretty hot. That's probably a good thing for some people. But this Spider-Man just doesn't quite hit it for me. He's just a little annoying, He's like a little kid. I understand he's like a green hero and he's like fighting with all these veteran heroes like Captain America and Iron Man, and he's all starstruck and everything, but I don't know, he's just not as witty. He's not witty enough to be Spider-Man. He talks a lot. That's better than Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but I don't know if he's better than like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man. I think I prefer Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man over Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So there's that. A lot of people like the new Spider-Man. I don't quite see it yet. First impression wasn't good. Hopefully the movie in 2017 makes it better. Maybe he'll be a little bit more witty than he was in this movie. And then move to the finale, where Tony Stark finally figures out, with all his technology that he had at his disposal, the whole movie, he finally figures out that the Winter Soldier was not the person who set the bomb off. Wow. That is a whole convoluted thing, man. I just don't understand. He's like, you had all these face recognition technology and stuff, and only towards the last third of the movie you finally figure out that it's not Bucky that set the bomb off. My God, Iron Man, you are amazing. Maybe that's why you're also called the Invincible Spider-Man, or Iron Man, not the Incredible Iron Man. So, he figures it out, finally, and he tries to go back and apologize to Steve Rogers and Bucky, because he was wrong the whole time. And that every bad thing that could possibly happen with the government controlling the Avengers possibly happened. And so, he goes against his own creed to go save Steve and Bucky, only to come into a trap. Plot twist: Bucky killed his parents. Oh shit. So, Tony Stark gets angry again, tries to kill Bucky. Steve Rogers can't have that happen because Bucky's his best friend. So, he ends up fighting Iron Man. And the battle was pretty cool. You see most of the cool parts in the trailer though, so that's the part where he's like, they're throwing the shield around, it's bouncing all over the place, and it's hitting him in the head, and then Bucky comes in and hits him with the shield, and then all that stuff happens in that part. But in the end, Captain America disables Iron Man. Lots of people in the theater thought that he was gonna kill him, but he ends up hitting him in the chest instead. So he disables him, and they get away. And, you know, time passes by, and Steve Rogers ends up sending Tony Stark a letter in a box with a very cool cameo from Stan Lee. Mr. Stank, Tony Stank, is there a Tony Stank here? And, yep, War Machine has the time of his life with that joke. Mr. Stank. And in the letter, it says that even though they didn't agree on this, and he apologizes for not telling Tony that his parents didn't die in a car crash. He wasn't exactly sure it was the Winter Soldier that did it, but he knew that they didn't die in a car crash and they were actually murdered. He apologizes for that. And then he goes on to say that even though they didn't agree, he'll always be there to help him when he needs help. And then it shows them freeing the other captured Avengers. Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Ant-Man, and Hawkeye from the underwater prison that they were in after the airport fight. And so that begins the Secret Avengers, because now they're wanted criminals, and that's how the Secret Avengers arc starts in the comics. Although we don't have a Secret Avengers movie coming up, but it does make the connection as to why Captain America will still be there for Infinity War. So overall, it's an okay movie. It's not super great. It's not super epic. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it about a 7 because it's got some cool fight scenes. The airport fight is actually one of the coolest scenes because you get to see all the heroes fighting each other and they're all using their powers against each other. It's kind of interesting. But overall, the story's a little weird as to why things are happening the way they are happening, and they don't quite make sense. Oh, forgot to mention, Black Panther is actually super awesome. He's pretty cool in this movie. So the upcoming Black Panther movie is going to be pretty great. They didn't tease anything from Doctor Strange, so that was a little sad, but hopefully new Spider-Man movie will clear up lots of things in 2017. But yep. So if you like this review, hit the thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down. Leave a comment, and please subscribe. So until next time, shoots.